Hi guys. So for today's video, again, my little disclaimer, I haven't created a title. However, the way that I want to run my YouTube channel might be a little bit different, or I'm adding a new component to how I'm running my channel. So for instance, if you guys been following me, you know that I used to be a reader, tarot reader. However, due to my own personal reasons, I have had to step away from that. But because it was such a large part of how I gained income, or also how I've just developed this sense of self or just helping people, I wanted to incorporate a new aspect or a new component to the way that I run my reading business. So for instance, this is how I'm going to start it out. Like, many people still in my DMs asking me if I can do readings, but instead, because, I'm an aspiring spiritual advisor, I will take the inquiries that they want me to, give them insight on, not using my cards, because I don't know if you know, but I don't need my cards to really give people any sense of advice or readings. And now, mind you, I only speak on things that I know, that I have experience of, that I've actually been in shoes of. So don't just be thinking I'm out here talking about nothing from nothing. You understand? So today, a woman asked me, she said she was really just trying to understand her love life. Now, she was a reoccurring customer, client, whatever you want to call it, of mine, and she used to come back asking kind of sort of the same questions. So it got to the end part where I was just like, some of these decisions we can figure out on our own type thing. But so she spaced out how often she would come to me, and one of the things that she said to me, she was like, listen, I'm going through something when it comes to my love life. I feel like I've been stuck in these patterns, stuck in these ways of being, and it's like every time I feel like I implemented a change, it always goes back to me not, getting the same results that I didn't necessarily like, and in regards to her love life. And she was also talking about relocation and everything like that. So the way I'm going to run my channel is these people are going to give me my advice, or they come with inquiries, and then I'll make a video addressing not only them, but also more people, because I feel like the work that I do individually can be transferred over to a larger scale of how I run my business. Anyway, so my response to that is, well, first of all, because I'll speak about my own experience first, and then I'll get into really, the type of advice that I would give to myself, like higher self telling Tiana, you do this, do this, do that, because that's what I told her. I was like, listen, I'm kind of going through the same thing right now, but I'm just reminding myself, and in a stage where I'm like reiterating and going back to where I first started when these problems were happening, right? So, let me breathe. Yes. So, for instance, she was talking about, I feel like I'm stuck in these patterns. And one thing I understand is that God will always bring you back to a place where he feels you need to get things off the table. And I remember watching a sermon by Sarah Jake. She's like, if God keeps returning you back to the same place over and over and over, you have to see where you have left things on the table, or where you have left things on the table and you have some lessons to learn. And I feel as though when it comes to my love life, like, there were situations where I'll keep having to go back to Orlando, and I'm like, yo, I hate Orlando, God. Why you keep bringing me here? Why you keep bringing me here? Because ain't nobody out here for me. It's like not much to see, but I had to understand the pattern, or even why he had to bring me there, and I was just like, I want to go here and I want to go there. And it was like every time I felt like I relocated to a new place, he always brought me back to Orlando. When I tried moving over to the Bahamas, ended up moving back to Orlando. Then I went back to the Bahamas, and I came back to Orlando, and he was like, there's more stuff that I need you to learn in Orlando. And if you don't let go let go of your grip on what it is you're looking for, whatever that might be, I can't show you what I have for you. And to respond to the woman that asked me that question, it's that I feel as though in our relationships, we've always tried to control ourselves. And I recently just told God, I'm like, you know what? I release control of my love life, because I know I'm a lover. Like, hello, my name is Lovely, my yogi name. Like, everything about me is love. And I was just like, if I go about certain things in my own plans and my own way, I feel like those patterns continue. Like, I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna do this different. I'm gonna write me a list of who I want to be with and et cetera, et cetera. But if I keep getting dud heads and F boys and all of that in between, who's really in control? Because I feel like the control that I had on myself, or the control that I've taken into my own hands to really find somebody, I feel like that is what kind of got me stuck in a certain pattern, that these people, they might be new faces, but ultimately the same results. And I always thought that if I go somewhere else, if I go to the Bahamas, if I go to Richmond, if I go to Orlando or New York, Jersey, whatever, all the places I'm from, like if I go to these different places, maybe things would be different. But God was always telling me, no, I will position you. I will place you in the place that you need to be. So if you ever find confusion in a certain place where you feel like you're quote unquote stuck, understand what you're going through in that season, to know like God is always in control. You feel me? Like, again, she spoke about her love life and not really seeing the results that she needed to. And I want to mention like the reason why, not the reason why, but certain things that I used to look up in when it comes to relationship is that I used to watch Transformation Church on YouTube back in 2017. And he has a series, Michael Todd, he has a series, Pastor Todd, excuse me. He has a series called Relationship Goals. And I remember driving back and forth to school in 2017, just knowing like, okay, I want me a relationship and I need to know the in and out of this. And I want God to be the center of the relationship. So I watched sermons after sermon, and he has a really great series about relationship goals. And one of the things that he said in there is that there's 4 different P's, and I forget them, but I'm going to try to remember. He gives you a place of your own. And like, what else? I should have remembered this for the video, but I want you guys all, if you're dealing with any relationship issues or you're just trying to figure out something when it comes to relationships, please go to Michael Todd Transformation Church called Relationship Goals. It's an 8-part series. And he also has a new series that I'm on right now talking about relationship goals reloaded. So it's a different a spin-off of that first thing. And he was just saying, before God gives you, before the person, he'll give you a place, he'll give you provision, he'll give you purpose, he'll give you all these P's. Oh, I got it. So he'll give you all these P's before a person. I feel like we're searching so much for this person when we're not even in the correct position to get them. Because I remember I was like, yeah, I want a man, but I'm living in my mom's house. You feel me? And I'm going back and forth between my mom's house and this lady's house because I needed to go to school in Miami. So I was going back and forth. And God he kept telling me like, you want a place, but you want a person, but you don't even have a place. That's the last P, person. And he was like, you don't even have a place of your own. So now I'm finally in my place of my own. I'm like, oh, shoot, wait, hold on. You keep bringing me back to this place. Now, at first, I thought it was Orlando. I'm like, oh, I'm going to find somebody in Orlando because he kept bringing me back. But at the end of the day, that was not my own place. So now going back, now I'm reiterating what's going on. I'm like, wow, I finally have my own place. Is a person coming? But as you go on in the series and you start to realize like, dang, when it comes to my love life, like I said, I got to surrender. So I'm so worried about finding who this person was when I need to release that control of who that person might be. Because in the sermon, he was like, when God gives you purpose, you're just going to be running. You're going to be focused on, you're going to be running and you're going to be focused on like, your whatever task God you're calling or whatever. So as you're running and you look over, that person might be right there for you looking over, but you don't stop in the race. You finish and you keep going. Then when you're done the race and you look up, you're going to see who won the race with you. And that's when it comes to picking who's for you. But ultimately, before we even have this person, we need to look towards ourselves, get the inner stuff out. And if we fill our lives with God, and if we fill it more with good stuff in life and everything that God has for us, we can start to see who is for us. Because one of the things she was saying also is that she feels like she has a clouded judgment. And she uses things to cloud her, or not that she uses things to cloud her judgment, the things that she's been using like weed, alcohol, whatever the case may be, it's clouding her judgment. And I honestly believe that as well, because there'll be times where I'm like, dang, I really want a person, whatever, or I'm around certain people and I'm just like, man, I know I shouldn't be smoking weed because of X, Y, and Z, but I still want to do it. And it's not only about a romantic relationship. It's about the friend relationships you keep as well. Like, that's super important about the friends that you keep, because they're ultimately gonna change and influence and manipulate the way that you operate your own life. You feel me? So I feel like when it comes to relationships, we have to be mindful of what our standard is, and knowing what our standard is, because once we know what our standard is and we know where we're starting from, we can go into a relationship with a certain standard that this person must meet me here. Because if you go in haphazardly without even understanding what these people are about, you'll start to create that standard in that relationship. And I get a lot of this information that I'm talking about from that sermon. So guys, please, if you are wondering about why God hasn't brought you your person yet, or why you feel as though you want to go here and go there to find out what's best for you, understand that God is in control of it all. And he wants us to do the work. Like, and one thing that they say in the sermon, he's like, God wants good relationships for us. So it's really important that we understand that you have to go inside. I always say this, go inside, find out who your source is. Know about him, because when you fill your life up with your source and you know that everything comes from your source, you'll start to realize that if you give more to God and you fill your life up more with God and your source, he will start to bring all those things together, because he's going to put you in training. Like I said, you'll start running and you're just running your race towards God. You'll look up and your person will be right there, because ultimately we're not meant to be alone. We are not. So it's like this culture and this society, yes, it has us going crazy and thinking we can be with X, Y, and Z, but no. We need to know that if we fill it up with God and we fill it up with positive things and godly things and pure things, we will realize that our judgment is not clouded. Our judgment is really set on God and his thoughts. And even though his thoughts are higher than our thoughts, he can still instill great things in us, because the Holy Spirit, whether you believe it or not, there's something within you that is guiding your life, and we want to keep that pure so that we know that we're making the correct decisions to get us to where we need to go, having tunnel vision for where we need to go, understanding that if you are not meeting me on on my morals and my values and everything, and my not expectations necessarily, but just certain things that you feel like you've set for yourself, and you learn these standards because you've had such a close relationship with God, I feel as though, you won't feel as, where was I going? That was a blank for no reason. You just won't feel as, like you'll have more clarity, I feel like. And we can't do it ourselves. Like, honestly, if we were to choose everything ourselves, no matter how much I think I'm a manifester, I need help. And I feel like God uses me many times to help others, but ultimately God is our help. Our source is our help. And we have to know where our help comes from, because even though God can send me messages through, I am not someone else's help unless God has appointed me that. You understand? And I know that I love to help people, and that's my mission. That's my purpose. However, I am not the ultimate. You have to go to your ultimate. And once you do that, I know I've been saying it over and over, but it's very simple. Going to your source and understanding that they will guide you in all things. They will send the right people in your life. And maybe God has used me to speak to this woman to, go and indirectly point it to the world. Like, he will show you who's for you and who will give you the right messages if you would just slow down and listen. And that's what's really important. Slowing down and just understanding what that voice of God is, because God, if this is my understanding of my source and the ultimate being, is that he's quiet. He's real quiet. He's going to whisper. He's not even going to whisper. He's just going to say something to you like, that's them. Yeah, over there. He's not screaming like, yo, that's them over there. That's your person. Go pick them out. No, he's not going to do that, because he doesn't want you anxious about finding this person. He wants you ready. You feel me? You know, be ready so you don't have to get ready. And that's, if you build relationship with him, the ultimate relationship, the number one priority in your life should be him, her, they, whatever, universe, whatever you want to call it. They should be number one. And once you make them number one, everything else that comes after, you know, will be for you. So how do we trust that, knowing that, how do we trust that, you know, God is going to do that for us? A little bit of faith, mustard seed. Like, see the tip of your finger? If you were to take the tip of your finger and draw a dot and you look at your pinky, let me find a pen. All right. They say, take the tip of your pinky, you draw a dot, boom. That's all we need in order to trust God that he will transform our life. And ain't that crazy? We need a dot of faith, knowing that there's a higher being out there orchestrating everything for us so that we can have the desires of our heart. But we have to understand that we keep asking God for our wants and not necessarily asking God for our needs. So he'll do these patterns over and over and over again because you keep going after what you want. But God needs to position you so he can get you on a path of purpose, knowing that you can get somebody that you need. For instance, I know I deal with mental illnesses, and this is schizophrenia is something that schizophrenia is something that I will deal with for the rest of my life. So imagine having a partner who doesn't know how to deal with mental illness, who has no understanding of it. You feel me? So when my judgment, it might be clouded and I might be smoking and I don't drink no more, but sometimes I do puff a little piece. You feel me? So once my judgment is clouded by things that I shouldn't necessarily be doing for me, not judging anybody else, I'm gonna pick somebody that I'm blinded. You feel me? I might not see proper. So it's important that we get with God and we sit down with us and we ask him to cleanse our eyes, be able to see who's for us, and just pray that, you know, he will do his working for us. And also to individualize the message for her, I had to stop my cards, but I really wanted to just get, the Hierophant. I can't step away from these cards. I can't. Discipline. But I know I use them for my own purposes in certain reasons. But I just looked at the Hierophant. And the Hierophant is a traditional person. So for you, the person who asked me this question, I'm going to send her the video. Take note. Be a record keeper. Go back to your journals. Go back to whatever you've said. You know, you said you've done the work. Go back to what you started from, because that's what I did. I had to go back to a point where I'm like, when did I really listen and heed to God's will for my life? And that was back in 2017. So go back to that point of where you started making your list and doing this and doing that. And I promise you, you will start to realize, because once I'm going back and watching these things, I'm like, dang, I really did mess up. I really didn't listen to this part. And as I'm listening to the sermon, I'm like, dang, that's the reason why X, Y, and Z happened. So please be a record keeper. Be the person who's all knowing and going back into, not be the person who's all knowing, go to who is all knowing. And that's your source. And I feel as though you'll be good to go. And there's so much more I can reiterate, but I'll do that personally. But I just wanted to get that message out there for more people to be able to understand that this topic of relationships and knowing who's for you, I haven't mastered it yet, but I do know that I've taken the steps to be able to just heal myself and understanding. So right now, am I dealing with anybody? No, I've just really been filling in my voids with God. And I'm just so thankful that she asked this question, because I'm going to watch this video back and even listening to my own advice. I might have rambled. I might have gone on a tangent, but ultimately I know my heart is positioned properly to be able to say what I need to say when I say it. So thank you. And I appreciate you for watching.